Around the world. I'm sitting here with Jose Santiago. And what did you do this weekend?
I got top 4 at the World Championship.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I'm really happy overall for the group that came. There was 3 of us that qualified, but it's never just 3 people, or the people that qualify is always a group of people that, you know, I think G says behind every great man is an even greater man. So that actually applies. Yeah, it was a great group of people. Got top 4 worlds with Snake Eye, a deck I was really comfortable with. Yeah, here to show it off. Shoutouts. I guess we can start that real quick. I guess we'll just do the shoutouts after. I'm sorry. Everyone wants to see the deck. I'm sure that's what they're here for. So I played 3 Engraver, obviously. Yep. Don't need to explain too much of this. You play 3 Poplar because the deck is significantly worse in the Worlds format because Wanted is limited to 1. Bonfire, they force you to play 2. Snake Eye Ash is at 1. And yeah, so the 1 Snake Eye Ash. Shout out to Yugioh who gifted me this after our top 8 match. He's the nuts. Our trusty buddy Oak. Diabel, Flamebird, 2 Bonfire. We decided to play 2 original. It kind of fit the strategy of the deck more. I ended up cutting the 1-for-1 for this because our strategy was basically we're gonna play a lot of Noun Engine, and we played a lot of hand traps that basically summon themselves. So the issue with 1-for-1 was that in order to play it, you're gonna have to pitch a non-engine hand trap that you really want to get value from. So whereas original, when you send a card from face up on the field, you've already got the value. So when you send a Bistro, you've already banished something, you possibly attacked over an SP, and now you can send it for engine. Whereas 1-for-1, you had to not get the value from your hand trap or from your non-engine in order to get started. So that's where the second original came up. Also, it made hand trapping, you know, Poplar and Witch much worse because we would just randomly have this in deck.
That came up in top 4, right?
Yeah, it came up a couple times.
Even though the game was still like in Ruben's favor, like it did come up to where like he did interrupt
yeah, if I didn't
it.
have this for Oak, I was probably not in a good position.
Both of our matches, right?
Yeah, both of the matches. Yeah. So that was really good. Temple, 1 Wanted, and I also played Prosperity. In testing, the deck just felt a little inconsistent, so I wanted Prosperity in the deck because I felt like you could comfortably banish 3 cards if you had some level of engine, and if you needed to banish 6, you were able to. So I did play the 1 Prosperity. It is limited to 1. So yeah, that was pretty much for the engine. And then I already gave you a sneak peek for the non-engine, but these are the 9 ones that summon themselves. Phantasme was insane. We originally had Charmy in the main deck. The issue with Charmy was that you would draw it in combination with 1 and 1.5 plays. You would normal summon a Poplar, it would get stopped, and then you would have Charmy in hand, so you'd have no chance of winning the duel if they just randomly drew 1 hand trap and like 2 to 3 engine. So Phantasme gives you a chance to win those type of duels because it lets you come back into the game, it provides a body on the field, lets you draw into combination hand traps, like things like Nibiru, Magnuma, and other ones. So it actually gave you a chance to win, so yeah. For the other ones, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Veiler, 1 Ogre, 1 Mourner. The thought process behind this was that you're going to see a lot of cards within your deck when you draw off a Phantasme, Mochami, post side. So you want to see like unique ones because the way you lose games is you draw multiples of cards you can only activate once. Phantasme is kind of an exception because a lot of the decks will link summon on your turn. So when you draw 2 of them, you can actually get value on your own turn, which ends up being pretty good. 3 Impermanents and 1 Talents because you just never question the 1 Talents.
Lucky Talents for the win.
Yeah. So that was the main deck. It's 43 cards. For the extra deck, we play this card which makes this card. Yeah, and then the other stuff. Yeah, no really explaining here. This stuff is still crazy. We weren't sure if Moon was going to be legal for Worlds, so we tested without it as well. The deck felt a lot worse when Moon wasn't legal in our testing, but once we got confirmation that it was legal, Snake Eye was the pick for me. Anima, IP, SP, Nightmare Phoenix, Dark. Funny thing about Dark, we were playing Access Code at first, but we realized in testing, again, this deck is pretty easy to kill with, even without Access Code. So you really wanted cards that just got you Engine. So this card can steal a Solar Rage in the Yubel matchup, or it could steal you a Witch in the Mirror match, which could potentially break the game.
Or Big Daddy Magnamite.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like the best card to take off the Dark.
Yeah. Another issue was that we wanted another card where when you have to link climb into a Promethean Princess, you want to like save your Hida so you can link off your princess into Hida after. But we didn't really have a good link 2 that put another monster on the field. And Dark was capable of doing that, so it was really good in that scenario. And then Celine and Appaloosa, rest in peace. Yep, so that was the extra deck for the side deck. Played 3 more Charmy. It didn't make the main deck, but it was still really good in the side deck. Yeah, there was a lot of decks that just this applied a lot of pressure to. So, and then 3 Droll. Yugioh was really hard. I knew Yugioh had the highest ceiling to win the event. It was just the craziest deck when it went first, and this gave you a chance when they drew multiple engine pieces to be able to shut their hand off or make them end on a limited board of possibly Soul Rage and Phantom, where if you had enough engine, you might be able to play through it. So I did still side the access code because you don't want to randomly lose a game post side when you have a bunch of bodies on the field, just because you simply couldn't go into an access code. 3 Lullaby. I played a lot of mirror matches. This card gave me an edge in the mirror match because it's 3 more engine cards. Whereas, you know, everyone's obviously missing Bonfire, Snake Eye Ash, Wanted. This let me steal my opponents, so that was really good. Also, this card's sneaky good into other matchups. I sided it into the Ritual Beast matchup because you can call Protoss with it. And that does 2 things. It gets it out of their deck so they can't Protoss you, and you can potentially Protoss them for wind if you have an Appaloosa on the field, if you want to get crazy. Also, against Tenpai, you can call Genroku. It gives you an extender because if they give it to you on the field, you have an Owl monster, and you can put a fire in the grave once you link it off to reborn it with Hida. Or if they add it to your hand, you can trigger the effect to summon it, so it literally is a free monster. I was also siding this in matchups where I knew my opponent played Bistros like Magnuma, because being able to steal a Magnuma while you play Dark in the extra deck was nice, because they'll summon it to your field, you'll trigger the effect, and then you'll get to link climb into a Dark, steal it back, and then just link climb into an Appaloosa to make it easier. Cross out because it is limited to 1. And then we still did this. Originally, we were trying out Protoss because, like, even before Jesse won the YCS, we were trying Protoss for Worlds. But this ended up being better. Protoss was just a really big commitment, whereas this, it always forced them to interact with Beatrice. So whenever you summon Beatrice, it just put the fear of God in people where they had to impermanence or nib imperm you early, so you couldn't get to a combination of like sending blue tears to the grave to resolve DVG. Because this card is extremely just impactful. And then the 1 skill drain because it's limited to 1. Yeah, and then I just want to give shout out to all my friends, Landon, Hani, Ruben, Cam, who's here, Dennis, Chris behind the camera. We came with a mission. We all met up in Denver. We stayed there for, I think it was 2 weeks maybe, and we just tested. We tested, we hung out, and we came to the conclusion that, you know, as far as the decks we were bringing, and we felt really confident. Also shout outs, because there's a lot of people back home I want to shout out. Shout out Griff, Urkham, Logan, Kyle, Robbie, Tyler, Yampi, Felix, Ryan, Kevin, Antonio, Richie, Tage, Coco, shout out Coelho, shout out, if I forget anyone, again, I apologize. It's been a long weekend. People that helped us along the way, shout out Ryan, shout out Trung, shout out Math Guy, shout out Ernie, shout out the Smallins, shout out Matt Ames, shout out all the homies. Yeah, I'll be traveling to events this year, so hopefully I see everyone there.